They call it election meddling. All that we're talking about, everything that we got to this point, to your other guest saying, he thinks this, he hasn't read this. Let's just be honest. From 2016, the Obama administration was spying on Trump's campaign, to Hillary Clinton with the DNC, and all the Russian collusion, to all the fake impeachments, to 2020, FBI at Twitter suppressing all these stories. I think 60% of Americans wouldn't have voted for Biden if the truth was coming out. Now we're at 2024. All this fake, Mar-a-Lago's not worth 18. By the way, I've been to Mar-a-Lago. I was in a room that was worth more than $18 million. So it's all.
I've been there, and it's definitely worth more than 18 million. I completely agree.
Yeah, and Piers, and here's the point, Piers. What else is this guy supposed to do? They hate him because he loves America. He's been saying it since the 80s.
Piers Morgan and Vinny gang up on this absolutely insane leftist on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. Vinny has been on fire recently. I've actually been becoming a big fan of Vinny because I think he's one of the rare people out there in the conservative media space that's not scared to speak his true mind. A lot of people in the conservative space, they like to speak their mind, and then all of their opinions end up just being, trans bad, and it's like they take the very easy routes, like trans bad, woke bad. But whenever you really break it down, there's a lot more things to talk about when it comes to conservative media, like when it comes to who is really running the world, all of the foreign wars that are happening with the Russia-Ukraine stuff, the Middle East stuff. The stance that is what I believe to be the true stance, and a lot of those opinions, a lot of those situations are the wrong opinion to have on the conservative media side. And you're not really allowed to have some of those opinions. We saw that with Candace Owens. Whenever she had an opinion about the Middle East war, she got fired from the Daily Wire and a whole bunch of smear articles written about her and stuff like that. And now we're seeing people like Patrick Bet-David also hold those same opinions that Candace Owens had, and yet Patrick Bet-David can't get fired because he owns the company. Vinny also works for Patrick Bet-David, and he holds those same opinions as well. And it's really refreshing to see people like that who are willing to call out not just, trans bad and woke bad, but also go deeper into the real issues and the people who are the real problems in society. Let's check out this video here from Piers Morgan Uncensored of Piers and Vinny from the PBD Podcast going in on this absolutely insane leftist.
Away with it, and I'm so sorry to the working men and women who shell out their money to buy the stupid Bible, the stupid coin, the sneakers, these rubes who spend their hard-earned money because we can't get a livable wage in this country to bow down to their so-called Jesus King, Donald Trump. I mean, I hope there is a God so that he eventually speaks to them and says, this ain't your boy.
Vinny, let me ask you about two comments about all this. One was the Biden campaign, who said he spent Donald Trump the weekend golfing, the morning comparing himself to Jesus, and the afternoon lying about having money he definitely doesn't have. And then Bill Clinton's Labor Secretary, Robert Reich, said on X whether he has an actual Messiah complex or is just conning his supporters. He's playing to a growing GOP faction that wants America to be white Christian nationalist state with Donald Trump as divine ruler. Your thoughts?
Piers, let's just be honest with each other from the beginning. Everything from the New York thing to everything that we've gotten to this point, they call it election meddling. All that we're talking about, everything that we got to this point, to your other guest saying, he thinks this, he hasn't read this. Let's just be honest. From 2016, the Obama administration was spying on Trump's campaign, to Hillary Clinton with the DNC, and all the Russian collusion, to all the fake impeachments, to 2020, FBI at Twitter suppressing all these stories. I think 60% of Americans wouldn't have voted for Biden if the truth was coming out. Now we're at 2024. All this fake, Mar-a-Lago's not worth 18. By the way, I've been to Mar-a-Lago. I was in a room that was worth more than $18 million. So it's all.
I've been there, and it's definitely worth more than 18 million. I completely agree.
Yeah, and Piers, and here's the point, Piers. What else is this guy supposed to do? They hate him because he loves America. He's been saying it since the 80s. Everybody loved him. He was never racist. Now every single thing that he does, if he ran into a burning building, Piers, I'm being dead serious, and he saved 5 black children, 6 Mexican children, and 8 Asians, you know what they'd say? Why didn't you save more black people? You're racist. That's what we've come to. That's what we've come to. And the guy is trying to raise money because they're trying to take everything from him, Piers.
You know,
But guess what?
my
They're
thing about
slowing him
Trump
down.
is...
You're not going to stop Trump.
Yeah, my thing about Trump is there's plenty of stuff you can go at Trump about completely legitimately. He says stuff every day that you can legitimately criticize him about, or at least confront him about. It's the way the left, for some unfathomable reason, think that massively exaggerating, and I come back again, I've said this a few times, but the day after he won in 2016, I met Chris Rock by chance at the New York Knicks in the VIP bit where we were eating food. And he's on the next table.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
And I said, why do you think Trump won? He went, you know why? Because if someone's killed 10 people, don't go around saying they've killed 11. In other words, don't exaggerate how bad somebody is. If there's plenty of stuff to go at him about, don't exaggerate. Obviously, I'm not saying he's killed anyone, but the principle.
But Piers, who is the left in your opinion?
Sorry?
But I don't understand. Like, he's got 91 criminal indictments. Do you think the courts in the United States are run by the left?
Pretty much.
They just reduced
I don't identify.
They just gave him a 60% discount.
Well, hang on. Let me ask you a question.
They gave him a 60% discount off his civil fraud charge.
Francesca, hang on. Look, let me just say something. I don't listen. I'm not conservative. I'm not on the left because I think they've gone woke crazy. I'm kind of in the middle somewhere trying to make sense of all this. I think that with Trump...
The boogeyman, yes, I get
Look, he's facing 91 criminal charges. Do I think they're all valid? No. Do I think the stuff with Stormy Daniels is pathetic to go after an ex-president over that? Yeah, I think it's pathetic.
It is.
And I think most of middle America does. So when it comes to the election in November, I think they're going to say, why did you victimize this guy? Whereas, in fact, if you look at what happened, if you look at the stolen election nonsense and the January the 6th nonsense, there's plenty of stuff to go at Trump about. Which
I mean, he is a victim, you know, and a lot of people have been saying this from the jump ever since Trump started to get indicted, ever since they actually started to take legal action against him because they got so scared that he was going to win this next election, that this was going to work in his favor. I mean, I say it all the time. People get mad at me for saying it, but elections nowadays are popularity contests. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, there've always been popularity contests. Yes, but nowadays it's more like a high school popularity contest than it is a political one, than it is about policy or anything like that. It's about who can meme the other side better. That's basically what it is. And Donald Trump getting mugshots for doing things that most people don't really care about, like he didn't hurt anyone. You know, I know people are going to disagree with that statement, but he didn't really hurt anyone. Like if the guy's committing like tax fraud or anything like that, it's kind of based, you know, like I don't really care. Like, good job, dude. Our tax dollars are going to Ukraine anyway. I don't pay taxes. I don't care, you know? And from the jump, me and a lot of other people were saying these indictments are going to help Trump, not hurt him. Getting mugshots going viral on Twitter, it's going to help you and not hurt you. And now, they say he's not a victim. The guy was inches, millimeters away from death, from getting assassinated because he has the wrong opinions, because people feel so strongly about the opinions that he holds. The guy is a victim. He's getting the DOJ weaponized against him. He's having people have Trump derangement syndrome because of people like this in the bottom left, brainwashing them. People have such strong TDS that they try to take him out. They try to assassinate him because of how emotional the man gets, because of how much rent he has in all of these leftist heads. So leftists like this in the bottom left, they need to go on shows like Piers Morgan and get buried like she's about to for saying these ridiculous statements. They need to. Let's check out what Vinny has to say here. I'm sure he's about to bury this insane leftist.
He's legitimate,
yeah,
but he's going to get lost in the wash.
He's not. Wait. And guess what, Piers? You would think that the left would wake up. Nothing is working. Nothing is working.
No,
it's not working. It hasn't worked since 2016.
Let me bring in Sage on that, because Sage, look, I'll tell you another part of this, which is interesting. Rona McDaniel, she obviously ran the RNC, and she was driven out of there because she probably wasn't MAGA enough, and she washes up at NBC, and they're going to make her a pundit. And then after 4 days, she's the victim of this kind of massive onslaught from NBC and MSNBC on-air talent. And I was watching this going, hang on a second. And she's been fired immediately. because presumably because she's a Republican who might have the audacity to espouse Republican views on air, and the media, the mainstream media in America, is predominantly skewed left. And this is a classic example because I remember MSNBC giving Jen Psaki a show after she was the White House press secretary. So they're clearly quite happy to take people from partisan political sides, just not on the right. And when you see that happen,
it just has to fit.
When you see that happen, Sage, as Elon Musk has said today, it exposes the bias. And that, again, plays into Trump's hands. Sage.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
It's so blatant. It is absolutely so blatant. And it's been fascinating, by the way, to watch Elon Musk kind of evolve since before he bought X to now. And he's like, you know, a lot of people are saying what he says. I've never voted Republican. I never wanted to vote Republican. But because of how the mainstream media works, because of how this current administration has acted since before they got in, it's almost backing them into a corner and they almost have no choice. It is so comical to me that all of the talent at MSNBC came together and threw basically one big fat tantrum and won. I think it's ridiculous. And I think it's so funny when you look at what the chairman said and how they take such pride in diversity of thought and having different viewpoints on our network. And then what do? A couple days after bringing someone on with a diverse, different viewpoint, then they fire her. So to me, this goes back to the whole reason why we're in this situation in the first place, because with your Donald Trump stuff, I mean, you can go on and say, well, he did this and he did that. And guess what? So did everybody else. The moment on the debate stage in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, when Anderson Cooper asked him about, did you evade the tax laws? And he said, absolutely. Well, why haven't the changed the laws? Why haven't the laws changed? Because every single one of you are using those laws as well.
Correct.
So it's such hypocrisy. And that's why the American people felt like, and I think feel like, he is the only alternative based on.
Yeah, it's always the people who watch Hassan who criticize Trump for just not even doing anything illegal, just using the tax laws to his advantage. The guy is a billionaire. Do you understand? I don't even make that much money. You know, I don't, not even close to what Donald Trump makes, obviously, but I make some decent money. When I get how much I have to pay in taxes, because I'm self-employed, if you're self-employed, even if you have an LLC, you get screwed on taxes. You pay tons of taxes. And like, I do all I can to pay, you know, as little as I can while staying legal and everything. You still have to pay a ton in taxes. So it's mostly the people who never even understand what it's like to make money, to work hard for money, that criticize Trump for trying to keep as much money as he earned himself as possible. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all, especially when we live in a country in current modern day United States America, where a lot of our tax dollars are going to things that nobody really like. We don't want, well, most of us don't want our tax dollars going to Ukraine. I feel like they're being wasted. I'm working really hard for this money. Donald Trump, people who are very rich, working hard for their money, and then they're forced to pay taxes, a lot of them, by the way, a crazy amount of taxes. And then to a country that's just going to send it to places that we don't even want them to send it to. We never had a say in that. They just do it without us being able to vote on it or anything. So I don't blame him. I think it's kind of based to try and pay the least amount of taxes as possible. Not even just because, like, even if the Ukraine thing didn't exist, I would support it because you earned that money. You worked hard for the money and you earned it. It's yours. So you should get to keep as much as legally possible. You should even get to keep more, in my opinion, than legally possible right now. I think the tax laws need to change. But also you throw in the fact that we're using these tax dollars for what? To hire more trans generals in the military? We're not using it on the border. We're not using it to fight crime. We're sending it over to Ukraine. I don't want us to be involved in Ukraine. So I just, it's always the people who criticize Trump who are watching Hassan, who are communists, and they don't want anybody to be able to make a lot of money. They just want to live off their food stamps forever and not work hard for their money. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about what Vinny, Piers Morgan, Sage Steele had to say to this lunatic leftist over here in the bottom right, who is of course going after Donald Trump for being rich and doing whatever other U.S. president has done. And, you know, yes, he did some things that maybe he might, you know, get in legal trouble for. But if we tried to indict every U.S. president in the past for things that they have done, everybody would be indicted. Every single U.S. president would get indicted for something or another. And some U.S. presidents a whole lot more than others, but that's a discussion for another time. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Piers Morgan Uncensored episode of Vinny and Piers Morgan going in on this woke left.